Pirate Museum. He's worked at the Fountain of Youth. He's worked in a haunted house at Halloween and but when I think of Stevo, I like to think about what Winston Churchill said about Russia in September of 1939. Stevo is a riddle wrapped in a mystery inside an enigma dipped in a vat of conundrum sauce. Ladies and gentlemen, the wonderful, beautiful, and sexy Stevo presents My College Education.
Let's see, all right, I don't know what I'm doing here. I just came in for a beer. I don't get this. I'm standing here. Okay, I'm ready. Tonight, I'd like to share the college education that contributed to making me who I am. I entered the Timothy Leary Institute of Self-Exploration, wide-eyed and eager, in 1969, a time when anything was possible. The grandfather of psychedelics opened his institute in Millbrook, upstate New York. Ideas were in flux. One of the prevailing beliefs at the time was that education was growing stale. Young instructors were hired for fresh new approaches. This is Miss Gladstone. She taught amorphics and the role of bling in American history. Dr. Soviero taught experimental ecology. He believed that trees should be spoken to and not heard. He pioneered the theory that liquefied toe jam could replace fossil fuels, and is experimenting with the growth of rail mushrooms on his head. Was quite interesting. The academics were daunting, but I soon found solace in elementary drawing and expression. The art room was well-staffed due to a boon from Mike Mitchell, a local sculptor, balloonist, and philanthropist. However, my euphoria was not to last. A small hitch was my habit of biting the heads off dolls as I worked. When the other students began to mimic me, Dr. Scott became so unhappy, he asked me to try another class. Since the Institute offered the practical as well as the cerebral, my counselor suggested I enroll in hairstyling for a brighter future through sound wave technology. This is my first attempt at creating a hairstyle that could pick up FM radio signals. Acupuncture was added to my class load. The cutting-edge class taught us to start at the feet and slowly proceed up the torso, with the exception of the head. Sadly, we lost a few students when we started at the wrong angle. This next picture, this is Wally Ben Sidi, my instructor for meditation, mediation, and masturbation. He is seen here chanting for peace, love, and ejaculation. He taught we are closest to the Almighty during orgasm. Even today, his words resonate with me. After each intensive class, we experienced milk and cookies. We were encouraged to become one with the cookies, to be one with the milk. Then we close our eyes for a period of meditative self-exploration. At the Institute, we were taught that mind and body were not exclusive. Our physical science coaches painted their faces each day to mirror the phases of the moon. As you might imagine, it was a sought-after class. And these coaches got results. Here is my class achieving the third Dharmic pose that invokes happiness and strong hair growth. The challenge of the first and second poses dwindled our class from 23 to 10. As you can see, those 10 nailed the third pose. And now to music appreciation. Music appreciation wasn't just sitting cross-legged listening to Janis and Jimmy. Instead, we were taught to appreciate music visually. Here we are staring at CDs. No one actually knew what was going on, but we believed we could look at music for a long time. Dance 301 was the prerequisite for Dance 401. It was taught by an ex-Dread pirate Robert. We learned toe heel, pirouette, plie, arabesque, all the positives, all the positions, and of course, pillaging, keel-hauling, and town-hauling. The nurse's office was staffed by a student studying to be a veterinarian. We had to wait hours and her diagnoses weren't always quite right. But the black beauties and quaaludes she dispersed made up for any lack of knowledge on her part. The student center was always an enthusiastic refuge from rigorous class loads, always a hubbub of excited students discussing new ideas, or what demonstrations were being organized, or what new drug was being dispensed at the nurse's office. Most of us lived on campus for the full 6 or 7 years. The dorms were small, some might say cramped, yet they seemed adequate for our modest needs. Most of us agreed they had everything we needed. I was a model student, soaking up ideas like a sponge. My horizons were constantly expanding, growing in mind and body. My studies were challenging, mind-blowing actually, and the orange Osley and red Lebanese didn't hurt either. Here's our final project in engineering and design. We converted a phone booth into a swimming pool for small apartments. Unfortunately, we all flunked when our professor drowned on the trial run. Sadly, it meant I had to gird my loins and register for a 14th semester. At last, it had been a long, arduous 7 years to finally achieve my BA. The sweet taste of a job well done. You could feel electricity in the air as friends, family, and loved ones crowded the campus to celebrate our hard-won rite of passage. And now, many years later, I stand in quiet contemplation. Those 7 years flew by, year after year after year after year after year. And I'm grateful for the education that helped make me the man you see before you tonight.